Welcome back. You're tuned into the Good Day with Olivia show here on the KAZ Radio and Television Network. And I'm your host, Olivia Winstead, here serving up the good news happening right here in our city, Cleveland. Take a look. I don't know if you can tell, but we're in a new studio. So I'm trying to get a hang of things here. But anyways, I want to get right to our guest today. Fathers, if you're listening, I want to tell you that you matter. Your presence is absolutely necessary. Who would we be without our fathers? We know that the best fathers only wish to give and be their best. And here to support you is the FatherHood Initiative, a program dedicated to serving all fathers. From the FatherHood Initiative, I have Program Director, Mr. Al Grimes, in the studio to tell us all about the program. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to let some of the public know about some of the work that we do, some of the things that we've been able to accomplish over the years, and just how vitally it is important for both parents to stay involved in raising their children. A lot of times the non-custodial parent happens to be the dad. So our programs focus on fathers, and we have several goals that we have. Now, number one, we promote the importance of fathers to be involved in their children's lives. You'll hear my radio ads, you'll see our billboards, you'll see us on programs like this telling fathers, if you are involved in your child's life, stay involved. If you're not involved, get involved, because it's vitally important. Like I said, for both parents. The FatherHood Initiative is in no way anti-mom. We know that moms do a great job, but we know that children grow up and do better things when both parents are involved.
Absolutely. Well, I'm certainly excited for this conversation. Before we get right into it, I have to give some news updates. Cleveland, let's see here, waste collection. There will be a delay, okay, the week of Labor Day. So Monday, the city of Cleveland will not be picking up trash. So if you're celebrating and you accumulate trash, make sure you have some place to put it until they can come and pick it up, because they will not be by on Monday to come and get your trash. If that is your trash day in Cleveland, one of the biggest events of the year went down yesterday at the Woolstein Center. Yes, Summer Jam. What an exciting event. So many talented artists coming to the Summer Jam stage, and yours truly had the opportunity to announce an artist on stage with Z1079. Yes. So to check out some of the clips, please follow my page at Good Day with Olivia. And hopefully, Cleveland, if you weren't there, we'll see you next year. Jumping right into the topic. So, Mr. Grimes.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a Cleveland native?
Actually, I'm not a Cleveland native, but I am a native of Ohio. I grew up in Alliance, Ohio. And actually, I went to Alliance High School, went to college at Ohio Northern University. I spent a year in Switzerland, my junior year in college. And then after I graduated, I started working for Standard Oil, which now is BP America. And so after living in a couple of other cities, I got transferred back to Cleveland with BP.
Wow.
And so I worked in corporate America for a long time. I worked for BP for over 20 years. And then I worked for General Motors. I was in the General Motors Minority Dealer Development Program, getting prepared to buy a car dealership. And then when the car dealerships started consolidating, I decided to do something else. And I ended up becoming the director of the Cuyahoga County Fatherhood Initiative when former County Commissioner Peter Lawson-Jones became the county commissioner, and we decided that we wanted to start up a county fatherhood initiative program.
Wow, I'm very interested in how you got involved. You went from almost owning a car dealership to working in the social service field as a program director for the FatherHood Initiative program. How?
Well, you know, that's been my life's journey.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what God meant for me to be.
How did that opportunity open up for you?
You know, from corporate America to General Motors to owning my own company. And then, as I said, I had a good friend, Peter Lawson-Jones, who was a county commissioner, and Peter came on board. and wanted to begin a FatherHood Initiative because he had been responsible for forming the Ohio Commission on Fatherhood when he was in the state legislation. So then he came to me and we talked, and Peter told me about opening up this program and said, Al, would you like to come on board as the first director of the program?
Wow.
And 14 years later, here we are.
Wow, very interesting. So how long have you been here in the city of Cleveland? Just the 14 years?
Actually, no. I came back here when I was still working for BP America. So I've been back in the city of Cleveland since the early 1980s. So I've been back in Cleveland for a long time.
Okay.
And so I had an opportunity to establish a lot of relationships in the corporate community and the nonprofit community while I was still in corporate America. So, I brought some of those relationships with me to my current position. So I knew a lot of people in the community to help me get the program up and going.
Wonderful. So you've been here in Cleveland for some time now. You must like it here. What are some things you just love about our city? Are there any favorite places to go? Where do you spend your time?
Well, the state of Ohio is my home. Like I said, I grew up in Alliance, Ohio, a small city in Ohio. Cleveland has a lot to offer.
Yeah.
In terms of diversity, I think a lot of people need to know about things like the Caramel House.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest black theaters in the world. The fact that League Park, and I'm talking about some of the African American places. League Park is there, where we had Negro Baseball League that started out from that perspective.
Yeah.
There's a lot of culture here. Playhouse Square is probably the largest theater district between New York and Chicago.
Yep, you're right.
I'm a big sports fan. We have all of the major sports teams here.
Yeah.
So, it's about, getting involved and taking advantage of everything that's here.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and that's one thing about that I really was a little disappointed about Cleveland when I came here, and I think that's changed a little bit. It was, those folks on the east side stayed on the east side, the people on the west side stayed on the west side, and never the twain shall meet. But that's changed over the years, and there's been more, give and take and commingling, if you will, around central issues for all of the people in the Cleveland area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cleveland's a good place.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I've lived in Chicago, I've lived in Detroit, I've lived in Toledo. And whatever city that you're in, you need to get involved in what's going on there.
Well,
if you stay isolated, you'll stay isolated.
Well, you've been all over the world. What has your Cleveland experience been like?
Well, my Cleveland experience has been very positive. And that's because, and that is really kind of related to the work that I do. And that, I was able to be there for the inception of the FatherHood Initiative. And over the years, we've been able to help thousands and thousands of fathers become better dads, get more involved in their children's lives, become new parents through our boot camp and new dads program, help fathers find jobs, just the ability to give back to the community and have a positive impact on the community has been one of the blessings, that I've enjoyed in my life. Sometimes you don't know where you're going to end up.
That's
my journey
true.
started in corporate America. Had no idea that I would be doing this type of work.
So we say this over and over and over again on this show. So many of my guests have said it, and I've said it. We make plans, but the plans really make us. The plan, whatever our life plan, whatever is meant for us, that's what makes us. We make all these plans, but they truly make us.
They're true. And to add more content to it, my father was very involved in my life.
Okay.
My father was my hero. My father was there for me right from the beginning, and my father was there for me in spite of the fact that my parents got divorced when I was 7. So, he stayed involved. So I can see this thing from a wide perspective because, I'm a child of divorced parents. And I had an opportunity when my parents were living together, and I had the same opportunities when my parents were divorced. So I know that in spite of the fact that you're not living in the same household, that your parents and your dad in particular can still have a major, major impact on your life.
Absolutely. So let's dig right into what the program is. So you gave us a little background when it began. What year did it begin?
2004.
2004. Give us a little history of how, when, and why it began.
Well, it began it began in 2004 because we knew that there were a lot of parents out there to help moms, but there was not a niche of programs out there to help dads. And we saw that even in the county, you know, some of the forms that were related to children had no mention of the fathers in the forms. So the commissioner at that point in time said, well, listen, you know, we need to make sure that we strengthen the family by making sure that we offer the same assistance to dads that we offer for moms. And so that was kind of the genesis of the program. And one of our goals is to make sure that the county is father friendly. And that when fathers come to the county for services, they're treated the same way as a mom. If they happen to need child care, if they happen to need food stamps, if they happen to need some help with Department of Senior and Adult Services, if they're dealing with children and family services when a child is being removed from the house, that they get the same attention as a parent that moms get. And we found out, you know, that there were some biases in the system, you know, that were geared toward women. One of the things that you'll find in social service agencies is that they're run predominantly by women. I mean, that's just the way it is. And that the majority of people that work in the social service areas happen to be females. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes, you know, we just want to make sure, and it happens, it's human nature, that if, say, a female social worker is having issues at home with her personal situation, that she's not bringing that to work. And so that, you know, when I show up as a client on Monday morning and she's had a bad experience with her husband or her man on the weekend, she's not bringing that. When she comes in Monday morning, she's looking at Al. She's not thinking about John. And that's realistic.
So you guys are in place to be an advocate for fathers out there in the city.
Absolutely. An advocate for fathers. And that's the second goal. I talked about getting the awareness out was the first goal. And then the third thing is we fund programs to help fathers be there for their children, not only financially, but emotionally. Okay, because you can, you know, a lot of people think, you know, jobs, and jobs are important. You know, it's important to be able to provide goods and services for your children, but it's also important to be there for them emotionally.
Yes.
You know, you can be there all day buying the newest Jordans, buying the newest games, but if you're not there when your child needs somebody to talk to, you know, if you're not there to talk to your child when he's being bullied at school, or when he's meeting new friends and going into, you know, teen to teenager years, then something is missing. On the other hand, you know, children have to eat. So, you know, you can be there, the buddy watching the games and playing the video games all day, but, you know, children have to eat, so you have to provide for them.
So you have a lot of programs that help fathers find that balance in being the provider, but also being emotionally available.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And emphasizing that you have to have that balance in order for the children to grow up to be all they can be.
How many fathers have you served throughout the years?
Well, we serve about 6,000 fathers a year directly through our programs. We have another 700 to come to our Fatherhood Conference, and another 13,000, and I'll talk a little bit about that, that are involved in our Fathers Walk to School campaign.
What's that?
Well, and that's coming up on September 20th. September 20th.
Save the date.
Yes, we're encouraging all fathers to walk your child to school that day. Last year we had 146 schools and 13,000 fathers.
Wow.
And it's with a purpose. What we want fathers to do is walk their child to school that day, and they'll take a pledge. They'll take a pledge to come to parent-teacher conferences, to volunteer at the school, to work cooperatively with the mother of their child, whether they're living with them or not, to help with homework. So on September 20th, dads will walk the child to school that day at their respective schools. They'll take this pledge. And then the reason we have it at the beginning of the school year is because we want fathers to stay involved in the academic lives of their children throughout the school year. So we serve about 20,000 dads throughout the county a year. And if you say 20,000 times, 14 years, you do the math.
Lots of fathers served.
Right.
Wow. So one of your goals, your main goal is to increase fathers' involvement in their child's life.
Right.
How do you even go about doing that?
Well, we have a variety of programs, and this is kind of developed over the years. For example, we have a boot camp for new dads program, where if you are a new father or an expectant father, we have a boot camp for new dads at 9 hospitals. So you go to the hospital, you learn how to change a diaper, you learn about safe sleep, you learn about postpartum depression, you learn about how your lifestyle is going to change.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do men experience postpartum depression?
They can. It's primarily women because it's, I think it's a physical thing as well as a mental thing. But they can have, that's the one thing about this line of work is that both men and women have emotions, and when you have emotions involved in parenting or anything else, sometimes you need assistance in coping with those emotions. So yes, they do too. But I'm sorry, I'm not saying that just to the extent that women have, but primarily they're there as a support system in that particular case. So we have a program there where you need to be involved with your child when they're first born, learning how to be a dad. The other key thing about that is safe sleep. We're working with First Year Cleveland in the state trying to reduce infant deaths right now, to reduce infant mortality. And so now, we have fathers involved learning about safe sleep and handle a child safely, making sure that they have a bed at their home, whether they're in the custodial or non-custodial parent's house, because we want children to sleep alone, and making sure that their family, the paternal side of the family, if they're not living in the same house, gets the same information as the maternal side of the family. So we start there. And then we've got a program where fathers can be involved in all of the schools that we have. We have a program called Prevent a Premature Fatherhood for teens, and talking to teens about not becoming a father until they're ready emotionally and financially. We have a program at the Children's Museum where fathers can take their preschool children to the Children's Museum free. And then we have a lot of job training and 3 job training and placement programs. So we have programs designed to help fathers be involved in their children's lives throughout the spectrum of a child's life, whether they're an infant, whether they're a preschool child, whether they're in school, whether they're a teenager, and obviously parents, programs for parents.
Wow. Now, there was a program I was really interested in called the Rising Above program. Are you still running that program?
Yes, it's called the Rising Above program. That's one of our job training and placement programs. And my program director there, Maurice Stevens, does a great job of bringing men in, getting them ready for job interviews, proper mental attitude toward getting on a job and staying at a job. How to write resumes, and then he does a good job of placing them with employers within the city. The other good thing about that program is Maurice and the Rising Above have a great relationship with the Cleveland Land Bank. So he also then allows those guys who have graduated from this program to go right into a job of cleaning out homes and those kind of things. So yeah, that's one of the 11 programs that we fund.
Awesome. So you're getting all the fathers engaged, and my question is, how are you said mothers are getting engaged. Everyone
Well, we want both parents to be involved.
Okay.
I mean, and a key
In the
part of raising a child is having a good relationship with the mother of the child.
Yeah.
And that's important. And we have a healthy relationships program through our Fathers and Families Together program.
Are you partnering with any programs like the Moms First programs?
Moms First is also involved. Yeah, Moms First is definitely involved in the reduction of infant mortality.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the thing, with Moms First and first-time home visits, we want both parents to be there at the time of the home visit. If they're not there the first time a home visit, then we want Moms First to go to the dad's house as a first-time home visit.
And that's how you're getting both parents engaged, moms and dads.
Yeah, and the other thing about
cross-collaborating.
Cross-collaborating, and the other thing that we encourage any parents who are not married, okay, to go through a co-parenting class to learn how to. I just get finished making a video on parenting in separate households and how you parent effectively when you have in parenting separate. Because children, if you've been involved in that, and they're living with one parent at one time and the other parent sometime, and you want to make sure that you're consistent in the way you raise the children. If you got the child going to bed at 8 o'clock when she's at the mom's house, we'll try to do that when you're at the dad's house and talk about that. So children aren't playing one parent against the other.
Right.
Make sure that you have things lined up in terms of school and that both parents are going to get grades from the children.
Right.
Make sure that you guys have already established who's going to have the child this holiday versus that holiday.
Yeah.
This birthday versus that birthday.
And it can work.
It can work.
Yeah.
It takes work.
Yeah.
Parenting is hard enough when two parents are living in the same house.
Right.
It becomes even more difficult when you got parents living in two different homes.
Yeah.
So, but we know, and we were talking a little bit earlier about some of the things that we know about statistic-wise. Well, we know that right now, 44% of children in Cuyahoga County, this is countywide, are growing up in single-parent households or becoming single. In the city of Cleveland, that's more like 68%.
Wow.
So you got 7 out of every 10 children, that are a product of single-parent households.
You know what? Give us a few questions. We're going to get right into that. My question for you is can you define fatherhood? What is it? What is the simplest definition of it?
Involvement, being involved in your child's life, completely involved in your child's life, right from the beginning. It's involvement in parenting the child. It's involvement in I'll just take you an example in bathing children as they're infants and combing their hairs. From some of the earliest involvement of my father, my brother and I were talking about this. What was kind of the first thing that you remember about Dad? Well, my dad taught me how to tie my shoes. You know what I'm saying? So those are the kind of things that that the children remember.
Yeah.
And certainly involvement in their academic lives. Because I tell fathers, time does not stand still. Yeah. And there are some things that you don't get to do over. When a child is in a play in the first grade, their first play, they're hyped, they're psyched. Well, if you miss that play, you don't get to do that over.
Right.
You know what I mean? The first football game.
Right.
If you're not there, it's gone.
Right.
So just being involved on every level, because kids mimic you. You know how your children are. You have a child?
I have a child.
Yeah.
4.
4. I mean, what children do is what they see.
Yep.
What they see, and if you're setting a good example, and they see you involved and loving and nurturing, they're more apt to be able to do that when they get old.
Yeah.
If they see you uninvolved, then that's the image that they're going to get. Now, not to say that should keep you from being a good parent,
right,
because of the fact that you didn't have a parent.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm real clear on that. You know, and a lot of people come to me and say, well, you know, my dad wasn't involved. What's up? Okay, you got a choice. You can either say, A, I'm going to do the same thing he did, or you can say, B, as a result of my dad being involved, I'm going to be the best father that I can be. As a matter of fact, I was just watching LeBron James on this new thing called The Shop the other night. And that's what he said. LeBron said, hey, my father wasn't involved, so I was determined that I was not going to let my child go through the same thing.
Yeah. And I made a comment on social media, and I posed a question. I asked the fathers out there, what was it that they looked for in their father, whether they had a father around or not? What were the qualities they felt like they needed in the father? Because those same qualities that you wanted in your father are the same qualities your children are going to want and need in you. But let's move forward. Absent fathers, so you said here in the city of Cleveland, where there are about maybe more than 60% of children growing up without their fathers in the home.
There's 64% of children that are born
Oh.
in single-parent households.
Okay.
So they're born in single-parent households. Now, what I said before is because of the fact that your children are born in separate households, you can still be involved.
Yeah.
But that makes it more critical. Now, statistics show that when children have a father involved in their life, they're less likely to drop out of school, they're less likely to do drugs, they're less likely to go to jail, they're less likely to commit suicide, they're less likely to become teen parents. Research says that when fathers are involved in their lives, they live a more positive, productive life.
So let me ask you this. Okay, why? So we see how important it is for fathers to be involved.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges that fathers face, the reason they are absent? Why is it happening?
Well, there's, it's, some of the things are, there are some challenging things in being involved. There's some, for example, in the state of Ohio, if a child is born to unmarried parents, and I told you about the percentages, then custody automatically goes to the mom. So the father has to, even whether he's paying child support or anything, and all of those things, he has to go through one more step to establish his legal visitation rights. So that's a challenge from the beginning, because sometimes you would think that it would be something that happens simultaneous. That's a challenge.
Child support, maybe? Because I hear it's a common complaint that after child support has come out of a check, fathers have nothing left. And I know that's, from some of my viewers, that's been discouraging to a lot of them. How do you address that?
Well, we address that by encouraging fathers to stay involved in the plan itself, making sure that when your situation changes, you lose your job, that you do file for modifications. If you don't know how to file for a modification, call my office. But stay involved. One of the main things that I tell folks, fathers, is about child support. When you get a notice that you're going to have child support, make sure you follow up with that notice. Don't skip the process, because they're going to determine then that what your child support payment is going to be. If I told you, hey, guess what? On Tuesday, if you're not non-custodial parent, if I told you on Tuesday they're going to have a meeting, and they're going to give you a bill for $80,000, okay? And we want you to make sure that $80,000 bill is correct. Would you show up?
Yeah.
All right. So when you look at child support, just from a general basis, let's just say you have a child, and child support say $400 a month, right?
Okay.
$400 a month times 12 months is about $5,000 a year. Times 18 years,
right?
Which is how long you're going to pay child support, right?
Right.
18 years times 5 is 90,000. So they're getting ready to determine what your child support amount is going to be. Now, if you're not in the room,
Ah,
you see what I'm saying? If
you
you're not
don't.
in the room, you can't say what it's going to be.
So you must be present.
Be present.
Yes.
Because that's when they're going to determine what your tab is going to be.
What's your final message to all the fathers out there?
My final message to all the fathers out there is if you have fathers, mothers, sisters, if you're a father or if you have a son or if you have a nephew that's having some issues, struggling, give us a call. And if you have issues, we have some solutions.
Well, there you have it, Cleveland. Al Grimes from the FatherHood Initiative program. Fathers, remember, you matter. This has been Olivia Winstead on the Good Day with Olivia show. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me. Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodness. Felt like only 15 minutes.
I know it's over. That's time.
You gotta come back.
I will. After that, whenever you want.
Okay.
Yep.